Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and I'm not alone in this endeavor of talking about Mario football games. I've also got Mr. Felix here.
Hello, Mr. Felix here. Thank you for having me, Alex.
You're welcome. I mean, you say that. You're the one editing this video. I'm just...
Yeah, I'm having you here.
So, Mario Strikers Battle League football, whether you live in Europe, whether you get that or not. I understand why they put it in there, but still, it's just a bit weird. It's coming out to the Switch. It's coming out on the Switch in, like, God, I don't even remember. When's it coming out, Felix? You've got notes.
That's like the one thing I don't got written down. Oh, no. Let me go. I think it's June 10th. It is June 10th.
So, it's coming to the Switch, and this is only the third entry in the series, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just so nice that we're finally getting a game on Switch after, like, 15 years since the last entry.
Is it really 15 years?
Yeah, it came out in 2007, the one on the Wii, and the one on the GameCube came out in 2005. So it was only a 2-year gap, and then suddenly it was just 15 years of nothing before suddenly, out of nowhere, Battle League comes to the Switch.
Absolutely crackers. And we've only had one trailer, but we know quite a few things that are going to be different.
Yes.
Compared to the previous games. One of the things that's sort of being carried over from the Wii is the sort of the Mega Strike in a way, and the abilities, but they're kind of combining them, aren't they, into the Hyper Strike, which is the Mega Strike before you charge it up, just the same as you see in Battle League, pretty much. But it would fire multiple balls, wouldn't it?
Well, what it looks like is they're actually going back to the original GameCube game, because there the Super Strike, or what it was called, was worth 2 goals, like it also shows in the trailer for Battle League.
It's just as well you said that, because I must admit, I've never actually played the GameCube version. I've only ever had charged, and realistically, when I got charged, I thought, I don't think I need the original.
No, it like Strikers charged only built upon the original on the GameCube.
Yeah.
Like the music, the overall feel was just more raw, more violent. It was like a fresh coat of paint on an already good game.
That's one way of putting it, I suppose. But yeah, because I sort of as much as I love Charged, I did sometimes feel like the Mega Strike was... I mean, it was a lot of the time. It was based
really
on,
overpowered.
It was a lot of the time. It was based on chance.
Yeah.
Due to how many goals got through and things like that. And I know you could stop them with the Wii remote and everything. You pointed at the screen and stop the balls and everything. But even then, it was the fact that you could get. I can't remember what the maximum was.
Up to 6 goals.
It was up to 6. I remember 5 being like the number in my head for how many goals you could reasonably get.
I think it was 3 to 6 goals. You like minimum. You always got 3 strikes.
That's a bit much. I mean, I know because the other player can do the same. You know, it arguably makes it fair, but at the same time, that's a lot. I'm quite pleased that they've sort of reined it back in to be just 2. Another thing that they're changing, which I don't know whether it's necessarily for the better or not, but in the original 2 games, you got a captain on your team, which was like Mario or Luigi or Wario, Waluigi, Bowser, Diddy Kong, Donkey Kong, all those sort of characters. But then the rest of your team, the other 3 players, were kind of generic enemies from the game, and then you had Critter in goal as well, but we'll get on to Critter. They're changing that now, and it's all like main Mario characters, isn't it?
Yeah, before it was called sidekicks, and I think in the original you like picked one sidekick and all the 3 players was the same sidekick.
Yeah.
It could be Toad or Hammer Bros, and then in the second one you actually could choose between all the 3, so you could have 3 different sidekicks. Now it just looks like they're discarding the sidekicks, and actually Toad was a sidekick before, but now he's just a playable character, which I think is really cool. But it makes sense if you want to do 8-player local, which it looks like. It just looks like a necessary change. I don't know how it'll play out, because I really liked the sidekick things, but
yeah,
we'll have to see and play it before like judging it. I
mean, you could do 4 players in Charged, I know that for a fact, and you could have 4 people on the same team if you were going up against CPU, for example.
Okay.
But it was, sort of, I can understand why they wouldn't necessarily want to lumber, sort of one player. Oh, I get to play as Bowser, and okay, you guys, you get to play as a Shy Guy, you're Birdo, and I can understand why they wouldn't necessarily want to do that, but I would like to see those sidekicks come back like Toad as their own character, because, sort of like playing as Birdo is great, and also maybe it'll give them a chance to have a little bit more of their uniqueness thrown in, which you couldn't have with the sidekicks.
One thing I do hope they bring back, like speaking of characters and all, is like the music themes, because in Mario Strikers Charged, the music, like each character had their own theme, and it was just so personalized and gave the characters like a whole new level of, well, I don't know, it was so good. All the music in Super Mario Strikers Charged was absolutely amazing, and I hope that some of that is back in Battle League.
Yeah, I also like how it gave each character, in a sense, you sort of playing off the idea of, sort of the international, nature of football or soccer, whichever way you want to call it. Each character kind of, there was definitely a sort of like a national theme feel to each character. Like Luigi, even though he's an Italian plumber, his theme sounded very Spanish, I would say. Wario's was very German. I don't know whether that was a nod to Wario originally was going to be German, but, sort of like an umpire band, isn't it?
Yeah, and like Diddy Kong was Egyptian or something, which I don't get where that's from, but I mean, it's really cool that they're trying to give them different nationalities, which, like you said, adds to how, like, well, the World Cup maybe is in the real life.
I mean, they wouldn't even necessarily have to do kind of like the national themes again, because it did feel a bit strange, like, sort of the Egyptian theme for Diddy Kong. It doesn't necessarily fit Diddy Kong.
No.
I don't think that's a problem per se. I think, if anything, it just makes it more fun. But given how protective Nintendo is over the Mario IP now, I'm not expecting them to do that again. But as long as there's something personable about each character, like a little thing that plays when they score a goal or something, I'd be well up for that.
Yes. Also, each character had their own like animations and stuff, and that's what made the game so good. It felt so polished in a way, and I really hope that it's the same thing. Now, as the look of the trailer, it looks good, but, it looks a bit rough. But I wouldn't count so much on, like, that's the final product, because, I don't know if you remember, but the Luigi's Mansion 3...
I was just about to say the same thing.
Yeah, but that trailer, that also looked a bit rough, but, like, when it came out, it was so incredibly gorgeous, and it's the same studio that's working on this game as, the original games and Luigi's Mansion 2 and 3, so I think that we're going to get a really beautiful game when it eventually comes out.
I mean, arguably, I'm saying this just because someone is going to go to the comments about it. The reveal for Luigi's Mansion and then the eventual release was a much larger gap than what we've got here with Strikers Battle League.
Oh, yeah.
But having said that, we don't know how old this footage is. And I mean, there are bits where, in fact, someone pointed out to me in a comment and even on Twitter that the trailer, when they originally showed it, it was all 30 frames a second. But there are actually clips in the uploaded trailer where it's 60.
Really?
And that makes a lot more sense.
Okay.
And I'm very pleased at that fact, because reasonably, this game should run at 60 frames a second. And Next Level have the skills in order to make that happen, and it looks like that's what we're going to get. But considering how 30 frames a second so much of the footage is, I'm guessing maybe they chose to do that. This is all pure speculation, by the way, but they maybe chose to use those clips because they, sort of maybe the game wasn't fully optimized by that point, which suggests earlier in development than what was, where it probably is now. Something that I think some people forget is these trailers are made months, sometimes, 6 months or even a year in advance. This trailer may have been made. And that's not a hard and fast rule, I know, but, I wouldn't be surprised if in maybe another month or two's time we get another trailer and it's looking a whole lot more polished.
So when we look at Super Mario Battle League, I can't remember the name, there are fewer characters than in previous installments. There are 10 characters, which is Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Peach, Rosalina, Toad, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Wario, and Waluigi. But absent is Daisy, Diddy Kong, Bowser Jr., and Petey Piranha. One character that I'm really surprised to not see there is Daisy, and I'm wondering if we're gonna maybe see some DLC or unlockable characters. What do you think, Alex?
I hope it's unlockable, but I get the feeling, given what Nintendo has done with other Mario sports titles, that it's going to be updates down the line, hey, free update, now you can play as Boo or something, Don't get me wrong, I'd be well up for playing as Boo. I always like playing as Boo in Mario sports games. I just like the way he cackles, just makes me happy. But I think it's most likely to be updates down the line, simply because that's just what Nintendo have done. But I would prefer it to be unlockable characters. I love unlockable characters. I love playing something enough that the game goes, hey, you know what? You're good enough to play as someone slightly different now. But then again, I'm old school.
Well, I completely agree with you. I think characters added later down the line, it's just giving you an almost finished game and then just giving you bits and parts of it along the line, where unlockables, it's all in the game and you actually get the reward of discovering this new character, at least if you don't go search up on the internet. And it's just a shame that Nintendo has moved so much away from it. I mean, I totally understand that they want players to come back to the game, but I'm not a fan of that formula that they have going.
Yeah, I'm reminded of ARMS, which is a fantastic game. And from what I understand, I don't know this to be absolutely true, but all the characters and all the modes and everything, they were all made when, they were all finished when the game was released. Again, this is only hearsay. I could be completely wrong about this, but, so things were kind of drip-fed to us. Mm-hmm. And I don't actually think it worked necessarily with ARMS, and I think that's an instance where it didn't really work. And I'm just looking at my shelf of games, and I've just realized that Doshin the Giant should be a character in ARMS, because he's got some long arms.
So, in the trailer, it looks like every player is a different player. So, what I mean by that, there is no 2 Marios or 2 Peaches, and there's only 10 characters.
Yeah.
So, do you think that we'll be able to play as the same characters, or do you think you can only play as one character per... I don't know how to put it, but I said it just before.
Exclusivity between players.
Yes, exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised, should we say, if that were the case. But what I would like at the very least is that each team can play as any characters. So you could have one Mario on each team, for example. That I would be happy with. But ideally, what I'd like to see is just multiple, no limit. Everyone can be playing as Luigi, just an entire team of Luigis. That's what I want to see. But at the bare minimum, I would like to be able to see a Luigi per team, because otherwise then, because each character has its own stats and special moves and things like that, I think it would be unfair to needlessly, sort of lock people out of, oh no, you can't play as Luigi, because someone on the other team is playing as Luigi. You have to play as Toad. I don't want that. I think that would be bad.
Yeah. Well, Alex, I've made an observation, and I actually think that you'll be able to play 8 Luigis at once.
Oh, my word.
I'll send you some screenshots real quick, and the reason I do believe that this is the fact is if you look at the character select screen from the trailer, you can see that each player has a different position on the characters.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, so that means that if every player chose Mario, there would still be room for all, the player tokens.
That's a very good observation. Unfortunately, it's not a guarantee.
No,
but it's yeah, I see what you mean. That is that's definitely it's a point on the graph at the very least, isn't it?
Yeah, again, like Alex says, it's not certain at all, but at least it points towards why are all the tokens placed at different positions. But this is conspiracy speculation, and we won't know until the final game, or at least the trailer reveals what's up.
But it's undeniably, it's a good sign, isn't it? That is a good sign. There's also the other area of customizability using gear and things like that. So, you can pick Toad, But Toad doesn't necessarily have to have the stats that Toad is dealt with, that Toad is dealt, from the off. You can change things. You can give him a big hat. You can give him a fancy shirt, and that will change the way that he plays, which means that if you really like, should we say, Donkey Kong's Mega Strike, but you don't really like how slow he is or something, if indeed he is slow, I don't know, you can change that. You can give him a little bit more speed in the speed department and trade off somewhere else. It's never simply addition. You will take stats away from somewhere else. So I imagine every character has the same amount of baseline stats, or at least let's just say I would blink in hope so at the very least.
Yeah, because the previous games, each character had different stats. So if you wanted to play as a fast character, you had to pick, I don't know, Waluigi. I think he was fast. And if you wanted to play as a really heavy, big, bad guy, you played as Bowser. Which this really shows that now you can play as the character you want, and you don't have to think as much on stats because you can customize that, which I really like.
Yeah, it's just more flexibility, and also it makes some visual changes, which I'm not it's not world shattering for me, but it's fun. It's something else.
Yeah.
If you want to make Mario look a bit like a cyborg, you go for it, dude.
A new thing in Battle League is the online mode, which also has clubs now, which up to 20 players can be per club. You can create a club, have your friends join over, or you can just join a club online. There's probably a code for it or something. And I really like that. It adds to competitive play, and I think this game will be really fun to compete against the very best.
Yes, as you say, I'm looking forward to playing against you, the very best.
That was not what I meant, but yeah, cool. Items are, by the looks of it, also back, and the game still looks somewhat violent, but it looks a bit toned down, which I think it's a bit of a shame, but
yeah.
A new Strikers game, it just looks fantastic. I'm really excited to play against you, the not very best, because I am the very best. So
I agree. I find it a little bit disappointing that it's not as violent as it was before, and sort of stylized and I suppose just sort of dramatic in its animations and things like that. But then again, Nintendo has been so tightly, you've got such a firm grip on the Mario IP, intellectual property, that realistically the fact that we're getting any kind of Strikers and it's got any kind of art style, frankly, I'm over the moon on that alone. I've got a very low bar right now.
Yeah, also because we had a talk just before the Direct where it was showed, and I actually said, wouldn't it be cool if we got a Mario Strikers on the Switch? And what did you say, Alex?
I said, that's a lovely idea, but it'll never happen. But yeah, I was just like, what? I was absolutely blown away that you'd actually got that right.
That was the most insane prediction. And
if only you'd actually been part of the channel by that point.
That was a few days before I joined the channel, and I was like, oh no, I couldn't. Man, my reaction would have been so good.
Would have been good, but que sera, sera, and all that good stuff.
The last thing before rounding up this whole thing, the Goalkeeper is a new character, isn't he, Alex?
Yeah, it's Boom Boom, and that's okay, but it's not Critter. I love Critter.
I love Critter as well.
It was such a random inclusion, and I he's not that random. It's a Donkey Kong character at the end of the day, a common enemy from the Donkey Kong Country series. And it was just a bit different, it's like, hey, a crocodile in goal. It's, he's not a crocodile, he's a Kremling, I know, but it was just, it was as, oh my god, does that mean they're trying to have some distinction so that they can have King K. Rool in this game?
Oh, King K. Rool would be so good in Mario Strikers.
They put him in Smash, they can put him in Mario Strikers, damn it.
But yeah, it makes sense why they're choosing Boom Boom, because Critter, I don't believe he has appeared in that many games.
Well, not Mario games, no, but he's been in, shed loads of Donkey Kong games. proportionally, there aren't many Donkey Kong games compared to Mario games, but still.
That is very true. And new players to the game will probably know Boom Boom over Critters. I mean, it makes sense, but, we're both just a bit sad to see him go. Rip Critter.
But regardless, Mario Strikers Battle League, I think, it's in the title, obviously. If it wasn't apparent from that and the way that we've been speaking, I'm so excited about this, and I know you are as well, Felix.
I am so incredibly excited to see Strikers on the Switch. Even if you just have a regular Switch, you can play like 1 against 1 with the Joy-Cons, which from the get-go I've always just thought that Strikers was a go-to game on the Switch, and now it's here, and I'm over the moon, and we're gonna have some fantastic matches, you, me, and Sion.
We are. I love the idea of having 8 players as well, because as, I don't know whether you could do it online, but you couldn't really do 8 players on one Wii for obvious limitation reasons. You could have 4 people on one team against CPU, but that's not the same, is it? You want to have 8 people in the same room, and, realistically 50% of them won't really know what's going on. But that's fine as long as you split them evenly between 2 teams.
But yeah, I like in the trailer they didn't specifically say online, and I think it's going to be like Smash where it's 8 player locally and then 4 players online. Or, well, I don't know. I won't be saying anything I am not certain of because I'm very not certain of this thing. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, they did recently move over to new servers last year.
They did?
Like the whole system, yeah. All new games are going to use these new servers, so maybe Nintendo can handle a whopping 8 people online now, which,
wow.
The mind boggles. It's not like we've been doing that since, like, the 90s, I think.
Do you know if the new Mario Party game uses the new service?
I don't know, to be brutally honest with you. It would make sense.
Yeah, because the online is really good in the new Mario Party, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know how true this is, but I read something that the older servers were running essentially on Windows 98, which was released before you were born, I've just realized.
That's true, Bob. Bloody man.
Good lord, and now you're making YouTube videos.
Yeah, how's that?
How's that for a character? But Mario Strikers Battle League Football, it's coming out. I'm over the moon. I'm thrilled to bits. Really excited to see more of it. I have complete faith in Next Level Games that it's going to be a fantastic game with all the new bells and whistles we can expect from something, a modern game released on the Switch. I can't see how this is going to be a bad time.
Nope. Well, that was everything, folks. I think we should round up because we've been talking for some time, Alex.
We have.
If you want, you can always strike that subscribe button.
Whoa.
And if you want to... Well, I'm taking over your outro, Alex. And if you want to read Nintendo news and reviews and stuff, head out to our website, nintendolife.com. And that's everything from me and Alex. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I just stole your outro there.
I feel like I've had all the power sucked away from me.
I'm so sorry.